Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion
My
Power
name is
Hour.
Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Albin, your host for tonight, and you're listening to the Jazz Confusion Power Hour on the Source TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C. I'm glad you're all here with us tonight. I think you're going to love our show tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about Jazz Confusion Power Hour and a little bit about Source TV Radio. I started the Jazz Confusion Power Hour because I wanted to bring not only the best in jazz, R&B, soul, mostly jazz and jazz crossover, jazz gospel, jazz rock, jazz pop, jazz country, anything where jazz intersects with other genres. So not only do you get to hear the music, but you get to hear the story of each of the artists who produce the music that we all love to hear every day. So we take you backstage and behind the mind of the artist so that we can give you an introduction to how they create the music that you hear and how many years of dedication and sweat they put into becoming the artists that they are now. The Source TV Radio Network is a nonprofit 501c3 radio station supporting jazz and Black minority micro businesses that are too small to be on Amazon or Shopify and far too costly for them to be able to sell anything. So we give them a time on what we call the Shop Black Enterprise Showcase. We allow micro businesses that are minority or Black to talk about their products or services for 10 minutes on our station free of charge. So we depend on listener contributions and donations. We also depend on sponsors to help contribute to cover the cost of advertising, cost of broadcasting, and also the cost of just being able to run a general radio studio. So any contributions you make are greatly appreciated. So remember, we depend on listeners like you, on businesses, and on the artists that we promote on our show in order to keep jazz live and well 24/7 on the Source TV Radio Network. Now, the Power Hour has had over 150 amazing artists and known and becoming well known, both musicians and vocalists. Some of the artists on the Power Hour include Eric Roberson, Mesa, Brian Culbertson, Paul Brown, Raheem Devon, Reagan Whiteside, Samara Joy, Alex Harris, Greg Adams, Tom Brown, Costello, Pieces of a Dream, Kamasi Washington, Keiko Matsui, Kim Scott, Cheryl Crow, Billy Ocean, Annie Lennox, Dwelle, Costello, Marie Antoinette, Jay Brown, Yulia, Blake Aaron, Terry Wollman, Her, Celine Johnson, Erin Stevenson, Mavis Swan Poole, Cecily, the late Bobby Caldwell, Walter Williams Sr., Jeff Bradshaw, Dion Parson, Tammy McCann, Jeff Beck, Eric Burden, and many others. I went through the list just to give you an idea of the range of the types of artists that we have on the Power Hour each week. Tonight is no exception. I'm going to bring you a dynamic musical duo formed by longtime collaborations, two world-class musicians whose individual careers have been nothing short of legendary. Known for their mastery of R&B, funk, soul, smooth jazz, pop, the band continues with its deep roots and musicianship with a contemporary sound that resonates with listeners across generations. At just 15 years old, they started playing together in top 40 bands, forging a lifelong friendship and musical chemistry that would later define their careers. One is a celebrated saxophonist, a vocalist, and multi-instrumentalist, renowned for his soulful sounds, electrifying stage presence, and improvisational brilliance. His career spans decades, performing and recording with music's greatest icons, including Prince, Stevie Nicks, Beyonce, Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, and more. His ability to move seamlessly across the genres has made him a sought-after collaborator contributing to the success of luminaries such as Wayman Tinsdale, Acoustic Alchemy, and Eric Benet. As a powerhouse drummer for Earth, Wind, and Fire, the other artist we're having on tonight has mesmerized audiences worldwide with his rhythmic precision, soulful energy, and unparalleled versatility, and recordings with some of the music's most legendary figures, including Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle, Donna Summers, Earth, Wind, and Fire, who I also mentioned too, Natalie Cole, and many others. He's a producer, a songwriter whose contributions span live performances, studio recordings, and television. After decades of individual accomplishments, these two decided to return their roots by forming a group called Back to Basics. More than just a name, B2B reflects their shared philosophy, pure roots, true sound, a commitment to authenticity, passion, and the fundamentals of great music. So tonight, I'm can't wait to welcome two guests, Eddie Mininfield and also John Paris. Welcome.
Thank you, Mel. That was amazing. Wow.
Well, no, you're amazing. I'm just sharing with everybody who you are.
Oh man, that's such amazing. That's a blessing.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah.
It's my pleasure. I'm glad you could be on the show. But I'd like to start off by asking you to tell everyone what's cooking for the rest of 2025 and what do you have planned for 2026? New releases, upcoming concerts. What's going on? You can both jump in anytime you want.
Get him, E.
Well, we're finishing out this year with the single that we've been on for the last few months, and that's you'll hear a little later in the show. But it's Do You Remember? We're finishing out the year with that. We thought about going to Christmas and doing something for Christmas, but we're gonna wait till next year and do a little Christmas thing for 26. But to finish out this year, we're musically, that's what's happening. And then we've been working on our book for Back to Basics. So we've been working on this book, and we're hoping to have it completed end of the year, 1st of 26. That'll be following the complete release of all the songs in the EP for 26. So we're kind of full with things that the last is the 25.
Sounds good. John, you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, the music that we have that's coming out next year is I'm really excited about. I wish we could do it this last quarter, honestly, but yeah, we stockpiled a lot of music. We were able to do that because of the flow of the year and how things are released in the quarters. And thank God, that creative flow chi was there, because it's not always there. But yeah, we have a couple of singles we want to let out at the same time next year, which is going to be fun to see. Hopefully something sticks. But that's the plan.
Good. Sounds good. I wanted to take our listeners, our audience, on a little journey back to when you guys first came in contact with music. So I'd like you to talk a little bit about, was there music in your household as a child? Did you participate in music in public school? What were some of your earliest musical influences? So, who wants to start? Either one of you is okay.
I'll start quickly, but we have a similar music background as far as the music being played in our homes. I know we have a lot of music. My parents were not musicians, but our house was always filled with music. My dad was a music lover, appreciated music, and so I heard a lot of sounds before I even thought about playing an instrument. But my mom took me to a Duke Ellington concert when I was 7 or 8 years old, and I was just blown away by the look of the saxophone section. I thought, wow, these guys I was just blown away. They looked so cool. They all was in white suits and their saxophones to the side. And I thought, I want to play that.
Yeah.
And a year later, the instrument was in my hand, and I haven't put it down since. But yeah, that was my intro into choosing saxophone. And then my siblings, my brother and sister were heavy into, they were vocalists, and my brother taught music. And so music was all around me, and so I kind of looked up to them in many ways. And I just got pulled in.
What were some of the early musical influences that you listened to?
Oh, well, as a saxophonist, I was drawn to saxophone players like Grover Washington, Ronnie Laws, of course, Maceo Parker. I thought, because that was a lot of James Brown music played in the house. So yeah, saxophone player just stuck, right? But I was still thinking I could do James Brown's slides and splits and everything. But I still heard those saxophone moves and horn sections. So that was, but I was always drawn to more of an R&B kind of flavor jazz saxophonist, although I was, I played a lot of jazz going through my elementary up to all the way to high school. I was in jazz bands and all, so I knew about Coltrane and all those incredible, Adderley. I mean, you name it, I was exposed to them. But my appreciation was leaning more towards the Grover Washingtons. And,
Yeah, I'm just one more minute, then I want to turn to John. But during that period, there was a new kind of horn section coming into rock and roll, for example, like Chicago or Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Even the Boss. So did any of that have any impact on you? Or was it
major impact? I mean, the beautiful thing, me and John always talk about it. We grew up in the Bay Area, California. We were exposed to, we can go to any place, pretty much any day of the week, and we can see people from Sly Stone to Tower Power or to, Jefferson Starship or, that was one of the perks of growing up here. I thank my parents. I still thank them. They're no longer with us, but I thank God that I was raised in this area where music was just everywhere.
John, how about you? Why don't you talk a little bit about your household and the influences you had?
Well, I had the pleasure of being the proverbial pinball in the family. I was everywhere, unks, but my parents, they were really into more of the jazz, like my father was a singer. So he liked Arthur Priest and Billy Eckstine and that kind of thing. And my mother just loved she loved Ella Fitzgerald and, Pearl Bailey and all, and if you think about those musicians, I mean, what was Pearl Bailey's? I always forget his name every time I give him this love. Louis Bellson was,
Louis Bellson,
So I was hearing all this big band, incredible, with the arrangements of the horns and like a lot of up tempo stuff. And then there was this club up like a couple of blocks, up the street from my house in Trenton, New Jersey, where I was born, by the way. This is when dinosaurs roamed the earth, long before I came to California. And I knew about Pat Martino before I knew about George Benson. And the White Rabbit album, by George was like one of my favorite records. But all these jazz musicians would come through, and I would sneak around. I was supposed to be doing my homework and put my ear to the door. And then at my grandmother's, both of my uncles, You know, they weren't opposite, but my youngest uncle was the one that turned me on to the Help record, the Beatles record, and the Carpenters. And then my eldest uncle, you know, he loved Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan and all this jazz stuff. My grandfather loved the blues, and my grandmother brought it home with James Brown and Motown and all of this stuff. So you put all of that together. And by the time I came to California and heard Tower of Power, I'm like, oh man, that's everything I've heard in one band.
Yeah. I had Greg Adams on the show not long ago.
That's awesome.
I
Yeah.
finally met him like a couple of months ago, and I had said something stupid, but he laughed at it. So excited.
He has a great band now called East Bay Soul.
Yeah, I know about them. Yeah. My
Yeah.
boy Herman Matthews, man, they're playing not too long. I think in next week. I'm gonna go check them out. But yeah, I was, you know, cluttered in. But I mean, and I thought that's just what it was. You know, it was, you know, supposed to be whatever you like. So by the time I moved to the Bay, and what Eddie just explained, you know, it just made sense. You know, all this great music, we were just, you know, gonna just put it all together, and whatever you liked, you like. And it was so much out there, man. And I was glad, really blessed to be exposed to that at a young age, because, you know, we still to this day don't put anything in a box. He sent me something the other day that blew me away. That's not something I usually listen to, you know. So we were, you know, and you think about the radio back then, you know, I mean, there was a couple of radio stations in New Jersey. So you heard everything. It was going to go from Charlie Pride to some quartet gospel. So anything in between, you know, you either liked it or you didn't. So it was a lot of great music.
Yeah, yeah. You know, if you and you know, not being far from New York City was like the jazz capital of the world.
Yes.
You know, everybody, all the artists, you would anywhere came from Kansas City to New York, came from the Carolinas to New York. You know, I mean, and you know, the area around the lower part of Harlem became a center for jazz.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, you had the best of both worlds, the East Coast and the West Coast too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys meet? So how did I know you met when you were 15? How did that happen?
Well, we played in rival bands as early preteens. You know, we had the same manager, and I just thought John was amazing. You know, and I think he was thinking the same. So I begged him to join my group and quit his. So like, man, just leave, come on over here, man. We can have fun, you know. And he eventually did that, and we have been, you know, connected ever since. And we were about 15, 16 years old then, and we've been, you know, we can't separate for some reason.
Yeah, it's funny. That's similar to James Lloyd and Curtis Harmon from Pieces of a Dream. Those guys played together when they were kids. When they were in high school, Grover Washington Jr. took them on tour when they were still in high school. Sounds like you guys, you know. And you know, John, one thing I didn't hear you say. How did you get to the drums? I didn't hear you talk about that.
There was a upright piano and a drum, very small drum kit in the basement. You know, in my grandmother's house, which my uncle played. He would play drums, piano, and trumpet. You know, just an odd combination. But yeah, there was one down there, and I would always wait till they left to try to emulate what I heard. And of course, I sounded like, you know, none of the limbs were connected to my body. But yeah, there was a little drum set down there, and I would sneak down there and try to do, you know, what I heard my uncle do or whatever was going on. You know, they would have parties down there, and yeah, so that's how it started. And eventually I drug the kick drum upstairs through the kitchen in the backyard and used it to climb the tree as a step. Found out better uses for it later.
All right. That's great.
Did either of you guys pursue music in public school?
Yes, definitely in public school. That's where John and I first met.
Yeah.
but I was Berkeley High was known for their music programs. We had a great leader, we had great teachers, but the number one guy for me, who started me from elementary school all the way through high school, his name was Phil Hardiman, and he was a gift. He was amazing, and he planted a lot into a lot of great players. He seeded us with a lot of not just musical knowledge, just etiquette and how to become an artist. He just little nuggets. Even at an early age, he seasoned us for the industry because he was a trumpet player who got into a major car accident, and he kind of messed him up. His fingers were, so he put all of his gift into writing and educating because he could no longer play. So he knew, he was just he's an angel. I still miss him. But the great thing, he got the chance before he transitioned. He came to the Purple Rain concert that played in San Francisco. I was able to have him there at the concert, and that was like pure joy for me. Him and my other schoolmate, Peter Applebaum, which is an incredible jazz artist out of New York now. But they both were there, so that was something.
I'm sorry. Yeah, how long did you and John play together, Eddie, before you went your separate ways?
Well, you know what? Yeah. Let me tell them how. See, you hear him talking about how amazing their musical program was at Berkeley High, right? Well, at my high school, it sucked. Yeah. There's only like 4 of us, and we all stuck together, and we heard about their music program. And the last couple of months, still to this day, I don't know how I graduated because we never saw 5th and 6th period again after May. We went to their high school and watched the jazz. But that's how, we met there. Eddie used to always say,
I thought he went to my school.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it was. I just thought, he was there every day. So I thought he went to Berkeley High.
See, that's how it happened. True story.
Yeah, just briefly, I don't want to take up time talking about me. I had this friend in high school, Jerry Applebaum. Jerry and I decided the last half of our senior year we weren't going to go to school. We went to the village and hung out in all the coffee houses and jazz bars. Yeah. So finally, the principal cornered both of us one day and said, both of you guys aren't going to graduate because we're not getting state aid for you because you weren't here enough. He said, if we lose money, you're done. So we have to start coming to school. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They can relate.
About John, they lost a lot of money in Oakland because John and our other dear friend Jay Logan, they were not attending Oakland.
So after high school, you guys started playing together. Tell me a little bit more about that, and I want to play the first song tonight.
Well, after high school, we were deep into our top 40 band, so we were doing a lot of work and touring and performing and somewhat some songwriting. But we stayed together after high school and did a lot of. We even moved into a band house. Our manager then, who is now one of the biggest tour managers in the world, his name is Marty Hum. He started us, managing us, and we got kicked out of my mom's house, and we were on the Greyhound bus headed to Sacramento. Marty got us put up and he got us a band house.
Yeah.
It was all as one band house, and we went through our motions, and we were we call them bar stars. We were bar stars. We dominated the club scene in the Bay Area and outside of it. But
I was in music management for about 10 years, 15 years, and I managed a lot of artists who started out in bars, and they would tell me, I said, why do you keep playing in the same bars? And they said, well, maybe somebody like you will notice us. And I said, you keep playing for the same 20 drunks every week, it's not going to do your career very good. So, anyway, so look, I want to play Ruthie's In, the first song of the night. Then I want you guys to tell me, at what point did you part and begin solo careers? But let's talk about Ruthie's In for a minute. Somebody tell me a little bit about the backstory on this song.
Yeah, and Ruthie's In came about. I grew up around the corner from this, speaking of bars, this blues bar, sort of blues R&B bar. It was directly around the corner from where I grew up, and the name of the club was Ruthie's Inn. But I used to sneak in the back of the club because I befriended the owner's nephews. They were like my running buddies through the day, and we'd hang out. So people like B.B. King, Bobby Blue Bland, they would come to town, and I was blown away to see some tour bus pull up, and I'm like, we want to see what was happening. So we were like little nosy kids. Yeah. And then this place was called Ruthie's Inn, and John ended up playing there. As a matter of fact, he did a gig with my sister there. Yeah. And we just, the place was like this little hub that we had life in. So we wanted to, dedicate that song to and give it the title, Ruthie's Inn. So that's where it came about.
Yeah, it's just got an old school blues type of vibe. And by the way, Dwayne Wiggins, God rest his soul, from the was playing guitar that night. We were both.
That's right. Yeah,
he was playing with us that night. We were just looking at each other, cracking up.
Yeah, I remember that. That's awesome.
I went to see B.B. King many years ago, and he had this young dude who nobody ever heard of. He brought on stage to play with him, named John Mayer. When I saw him, I think John Mayer was like 16 or 15 years old.
Oh my God, burning, and he's killing.
All right, let's hear Ruthie's In, and then we'll come back and talk more about your evolution when you began solo careers. This is Ruthie's In by Back to Basics. Hey, that was great. That
Oh,
was really great. We got some comments from some of our listeners already. Let me see what they're saying here.
oh, beautiful.
I'll
Oh,
put on my
oh,
glasses. This one is the first one. Pete
Love the
Chance, love
groove.
the groove.
come
Thank
on,
you,
Pete. Come
Pete.
on, Pete.
Thank you, Pete.
Yeah.
Lonnie Porter Carrero, Yerza, great sax and rockin' drum right in the pocket.
Right on, Lonnie. Yes, thank you.
Hey, you know what? I bet you they couldn't guess who was playing bass on that.
I bet they,
Yes.
I bet they can. Who was it?
That was a special guest. One of my bosses on there, Verdine White.
Oh,
Yeah,
I've heard of Verdi White.
yeah. He's been around
Yeah,
for a minute.
yeah, I know that
Right.
name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dennis Farrell. Sax reminds me of the late Clarence Clemens.
Wow.
Yeah. Dennis,
Wow.
yeah. That's a compliment. I love Clarence.
Yeah.
Patty Bosco. Sounds like hot jazz jam session.
Oh, thank you, Pat. That's so dope. Right on.
That,
Right
Yeah,
on.
you got some fans out there already. Loving the
Yeah.
music.
love it. We love it. Thanks for you, the gifts there. We also co-writer on this song was a good friend of ours, guitarist Romeo Geroso. He's
Yeah.
got to give him love. He brought us the
Romy.
format, and
Yeah.
we finished it off. But thank you, Romy.
Yes, sir. Big bro, little bro. I mean,
Also Bay Area finest.
yeah.
So it's all rooted here with the
Yeah.
Bay
Well,
Area.
listen, I want to talk a little bit about how long did you guys play together initially, and then when did you decide to go solo, each of you, and go on your own? Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Well, we never really like had a official breakup or part. We never did. We just start working, doing other working with artists that we were, blessed to work with to create opportunities for us. The band and our concepts as a group was always a priority. So we figured if we went out with this artist, it would help. We'd always come back. So it was really tour work money kind of thing that had to happen. So yeah, we never really officially broke up.
No, we didn't disband. John left a little early. He started touring working with Don Cornelius, his artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a start. It wasn't a breakup like John is saying though.
Yeah.
And then we
well,
eventually started working together with supporting other artists like
Yeah.
Sheila B., Karen White,
Mhm.
After Seven, you name it. We come together. So
Lavert, Eric Benet, Tina Marie.
that's right. Yeah.
A lot of
Tina Marie too. I love Tina Marie.
that was fun. We had a ball with her.
She's great. Awesome.
So tell me a little bit about how did you guys get those gigs? Like John, you played with Earth, Wind, and Fire for several years on tour. How did you guys get these gigs?
Well, when Eddie said when we moved out to the band house in Sacramento, we met another brother that's not with us any longer. That's a huge impact in our careers. Name was Robert Brookins, an amazing artist. He really, man, that we could do another whole show on him, but he was the guy in Sacramento, and we met him playing at one of those clubs that Marty hooked us up with, and he kept talking about, he needed a drummer or a musician here and there to do his showcase for Maurice and them. He said Maurice and them, and of course, the first I never really knew anybody named Maurice except Maurice White, so we thought he was full of it. It's like there's no way. So it ended up being true. It was Maurice White from Earth, Wind, and Fire, and Maurice was mentoring Robert since he was 8 years old. Robert was a phenomenal phenom guy, young kid. So he was like really our introduction to the whole Earth, Wind, and Fire family.
Yeah.
Okay. And Eddie, how about you?
far as that was our end, but we definitely once we started meeting certain people, it started growing and growing, and then that person introduced us to that person. It kind of just took a life of its own. John actually called me from, he was on the road. He called me. I was in Los Angeles working with Verdine White and Larry Dunn from Earth, Wind & Fire, and John finds me somehow, no cell phones, mind you, back then, and no beepers or nothing. He finds me in a hotel in Sherman Oaks. I still don't know to this day how he found me, but anyway, hey, Eddie, hey, man.
And I don't remember.
Sheila E's looking for you. And I'm like, okay. Because Sheila used to come and see us a lot as our top 40 band when we were kids and playing in the clubs. And, I was like, okay, well, what does she want? I'm down here with Verdine White and Larry Dunn. Come on. I figured I made it. Get any higher than that. And no, he said, no, call her. She really wants to talk to you. And I'll call her when I get home. Okay. Next thing I know, that happened. I ended up in Sheila's band, and we ended up going on Purple Rain tour. Prince took a life to me. He started using me on a lot of stuff, and I was made her, I guess you could say, like Jerome was to Morris Day, I was Eddie to Sheila E, So it just, grew its own life, and it was awesome. It was awesome because I was a super fan of Prince. So once those things start happening, it just starts like a wildfire. So people were exposed to what we were doing and start getting calls. So that took us a little further apart for me and John, actually, but we somehow managed, God, I know it's God's alignment, but we would manage to go support artists together. And that was always a joy. Name the list of those people that we ended up, so we never separated, but it was something.
When you did some work with Acoustic Alchemy, didn't you?
Absolutely. Another, and oh my goodness, that was super amazing and super good times. I was with them. I did 2 other albums, and I toured with them for about 4 or 5 years. And just a bunch of incredible human beings, I tell you. Learned a lot, and just had a great time with them. I'm
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, I got into Acoustic Alchemy through the Granger brothers.
Oh yeah.
They were friends of mine, so that's how I got to Acoustic Alchemy.
Yes,
Harry Granger, So.
They're still there. They're still.
Those are our boys.
That's your boys, huh?
Yeah,
the
man.
boys. They're still there supporting, and man, I miss them. But they taught me a lot about the smooth jazz world. Period. The stylings of everything, as well as just the whole. Because I was in that whole kind of Prince rock and roll R&B-ish world, so I didn't realize what the smooth jazz world was truly about. Between them and Wayman Tisdale, me and John started with Wayman Tisdale together, and we just, it was great lessons with these guys.
Well, John, Eddie's been talking about, he played with Prince, and he played with Sheila E. and Stevie Nicks. And how about, I know you play with not only with Earth, Wind & Fire, but you work with Whitney Houston, Patti LaBelle, Donna Summers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those relationships?
Well, the Whitney Houston thing was something Eddie and I did together. We were a house band for a short-lived television series we had a ball with called The Magic Hour, which again was another opportunity through Sheila,
Yeah.
and you know, a lot of it was collaborative with Donna Summers and Natalie Cole. Um, David Foster wanted a house band
Oh,
for this fashion show he was doing for Tommy Hilfiger. So he called Earth, Wind and Fire.
Great. That's
And he
awesome.
put Neil Steubenhouse on bass, you know, for the portion for the singers. And it was really cool because I actually got a call from Natalie after that, Miss Cole, and I wasn't able to do it, but that's when I really found out how incredible Donna Summers was. Those records,
oh my, she was off the chain.
amazing. But that woman can, oh my gosh, she had a whoa, man. So yeah, that's how all of that happened. I never really I didn't tour with Whitney or anything like that. We just had that opportunity.
You know, there are people like Donna Summers, Fisher, who was a background vocalist for years for the Rolling Stones, a spectacular voice. When she went
Lisa.
solo, Lisa Fisher, she won a Grammy. You know, and you know who I think is so underrated as a vocalist? Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
Lady Gaga, man, that woman can wail.
100%.
Right.
My daughter taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. There are a lot of these women that just go under the radar for so long.
I know.
You know?
I know. It's so crazy. We gotta back up for 1 second because a lot of this those opportunities that we got and a lot of people and artists we've met did come through Sheila Escovedo at the time. When she was you know, when she came out of the George Duke camp, we mentioned Romy Geroso, and you know, she had a band, an R&B band coming out of George Duke camp, and our keyboard player that we had with us with Eddie Cat Gray was one of the first ones to come out of our band to go with Sheila. That's how I met Romy and all these other folks because they needed a drummer. So this was, you know, pre Purple Rain though.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do that. At the time he mentioned that I was looking for him to call him because Sheila was looking for, you know, band members, and she wanted, you know, she wanted both of us, but I had already committed to do this artist from our brother, he's a little brother, but he's big brother in stature for me. O'Brien artist. He was the one that was signed to Don Cornelius Capitol Records. So I couldn't leave, and I was so, oh man, I missed that. But yeah, we met a lot of people, you know, messing around with her.
That's great. Look, I want to play more of your music, so I want to play Manhattan Blue. So who wants to tell me a little bit about the background to this, just for a minute or two, and then we'll play it.
Get him, E.
Hey, well, this song was given to us to write into, and it was by our dear brother and dear friend, the incredible Dare DOA Allen, who is producer extraordinaire, bassist, just
Phenomenal.
just, you know, shout out to him.
Yes, sir.
He gave me a skeleton version of the song and said, go at it. And it became like very dear to us from the first time we heard the skeleton version. It was, then we called another dear friend of ours to do orchestration on her, Nicole Nelia.
Yes.
I gotta say, you talking about Claire Fisher, she is this, you know, this she is the new Claire Fisher, but she's incredibly talented and just really 100% great person. But so we put it all together, and this is what you got.
Wonderful. Let's let everybody hear Manhattan Blue by Back to Basics. Wow, that is so beautiful. Let me
Mhm.
Thank
get
you.
some comments on this one too. Let me see. Um,
Oh man, that's
here's
so
okay. Here we go.
oh yeah.
Corey Delmore,
Oh,
absolutely
yeah.
beautiful. Manhattan is in your
Thank
soul. Gershwin
you,
is proud of you.
Corey.
Oh man.
Thank you,
Wow.
Corey. So appreciate that.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
here's another one.
Yeah,
Eddie,
perfect.
this can't be Eddie Brigatti from the Rascals.
Hey,
It
Hey,
might be.
you want to
Eddie,
collaborate?
if you hear us, identify yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. If that's you, we got
come
something for you
on.
too, buddy.
Eddie,
Oh,
Eddie's still around. It might be him.
That would
I
be
love
yeah.
it. Oh, thank you.
Teddy Carlisle, sweet.
Thank you, Teddy. And thank you, Eddie, as well. Good Lord. That's so sweet. I
Wow.
mean,
Yeah.
the world to us.
Yes, thank you
Well,
so
look,
much.
our time is moving by really quickly.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the creative process.
Who?
How do you guys do a song from end to end? How do you decide on which song you're going to do? Do you guys write it? Do you have people you collaborate with? Um, tell us something about the process you guys go through.
Yeah,
Uh,
man. Yeah, it's just something that hits us in the gut. He'll have an idea, he'll have a concept, or I'll throw something at him, and it's the same way. And the music really writes itself. We don't really have uh, a lot of co-writers, but we have enough inspiration just through our musical experience that we can draw from. That we can put a concept together. So it'll just usually be something that he'll hit me with like at 2:30 in the morning. Hey, we should do. When I know I get that call, it's like, okay, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, it's just like it used to be, because Eddie was the one that showed we watched how he was writing songs way before any of us. So if he has an idea or concept, I'm like, yeah, let me hear all of it and see where it's coming from. He had the 4 tracks, track would always be like, oh no, he knows how to do this. So it's just really a lot simpler than we explain. It's not a real deep philosophical stuff like that, but there is you know, if it feels right, for sure.
once once you get the skeleton, how do you decide who's going to play on it with you?
We
Wow.
do most of it ourselves, most of the
Yeah.
instruments. Yeah.
And then if we have such a large musical friend group that you know we we try and pick people who fits the actual song.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, and that's one of the gifts. As you'll hear, one of the songs we did over a remake was "After the Game." We did with Wayman Tisdale. The original version was cut with Wayman Tisdale, and we redid it to honor our dear friend Wayman Tisdale. And DOA, their DOA Allen came in and played and helped produce, co-produced, and put it together, and it was just phenomenal what he did and his contribution. And Cy Smith,
Ooh, yeah.
amazing. Just
Yeah.
she's with Chris Bodie. She's
I know Cy Smith.
oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
See,
that's
from your neck of the woods, right?
yes,
yes, sure is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
sure is.
That's our
Yep.
girl. Love her, and we thank her and DOA for blessing us with that song. So, but yeah, we've been blessed to have some really incredible, talented, loving, and caring friends. So, but yeah, we kind of just it's like me and John playing catch. It's like we just
Yeah.
okay, you gonna catch this, okay, I'm gonna throw it back, and that's how we
Yeah.
usually transfer ideas and
Yeah.
feels, and when we come up with that final catch, we're good.
Yeah.
Turns out to be something great. But he will surprise me sometimes, Mel. I must say, he's a little tricky there, John Paris.
What?
He'll do something, and then months later he'll say, "Hey man, I want you to hear something. I did this about 5 months ago." Why you doing that? And it's, some amazing, orchestration is something that I'm like, dude, I'm gonna choke you, but that's John's always been that way, full of surprises, but it's always good ones. So.
Oh man, thank you, bro. I'm checked in the mail, baby.
I'm just curious. What would you say defines Back to Basics to set you apart from other jazz crossover groups? What is your core? What makes you guys who you are?
It's well rooted, and the definition of Back to Basics is 100% us going back to our beginnings and recapturing the things that we started with, and all the way up until where we are today. It's a mix of all these great things, our lives. That's why we're writing the book, and the book will be explaining more in detail what our journey has been, and because it's a lot to it, so we had to put it in book form. So we're writing it with my daughter-in-law. We're so excited. Shout out to Victoria,
Big Biggie,
and we're super stoked about it. But it's going to give a lot of details about what our lives were together and growing up and before we met, and all the way up until today. So
well, let me tell you two things. First of all, I've written 3 books, so if you want me to see any of the galleys or anything, send it to me. Let me see it. I'll be glad to comment.
Absolutely.
The next thing is.
Absolutely.
We can talk after the show, but I've written quite a bit. The other thing is, when you get the book done, I want to have you both back on to talk about that.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
I want you'll be back talking about the book and your lives, and we'll play some more music too.
Oh,
yes.
So let's play the next song. Do you remember? Since we're talking about your backgrounds and your lives in the past. So let's play Do You Remember? And then after we play it, you guys come back and talk about it a little bit, okay?
All
right, let's go.
Thank you.
Okay, here's Do You Remember by Back to Basics.
Change the groove, man. Do you remember when we first met? Ooh. Remember now, lady, 'cause I remember, yeah, all in my mind, girl. Oh, yeah. Yo, JP, Eddie, yo, B2B, baby.
Great song. Got more comments here. Let's see what we got. Man, we're really running over. I want to play your last song of the evening too. Bob Harrison. Love the funk you bring. Who are some of your favorite funk bands?
Yeah, wow.
Woo, woo, woo. Go ahead, Jay. Come
Man,
on.
I don't know, man. Oh, that's just next question. I'm past. That's too much. Man. I think this is too
Love the
long.
songs. You love the song. You guys did great.
Oh, thanks, George. Thank you.
Who's doing the wah wah?
Woo!
Somebody heard a wah wah in there somewhere.
That's an old guitar I don't use anymore, so maybe I should dig it back up.
Ah, that's John Paris.
Well, somebody picked it up.
Yeah.
Dave Porter, great vocals. Which one of you?
That was John, background vocals, and also David Hollister, who we're
Yes, sir.
featuring on this. Dave Hollister.
Shout out to Dave Hollister, man.
Yes, our guy Dave Hollister from, well, everybody. Mary J, Blackstreet, and so the list goes on. He's also an incredible solo artist himself, but Force One Network, he just, at any rate, him and John did all the vocals on that.
Yeah. And shout out to Teddy Riley and Bernard Bell and Michael Jackson,
Yes.
the original template, man, because that
Yeah,
that's where that inspiration came from.
yeah.
Terrific. Boy, we're right at time. I want to ask you one question more. I'm going to have you guys come back for sure because I want to play more of your music, and I definitely want to talk more about your careers. It's fascinating. But my question I want to ask you, what would you want the audience listening to your music and listening to who you are, what would you like them to take away from this interview tonight that's most important to you?
Well, me personally, I think me and John share the same thing. Our passion to create joy and happiness and good and bad times through our music is what we live for. It's what we've been doing this for all these years. We like the idea to speak to someone with our gift versus we don't always get a chance to have a personal conversation, but we want to bring joy to this world, and especially right now. It's so needed. A lot of hurt folks and a lot more hurt is happening and coming. So we want to be a healing formula for these times, and good and bad, so that's what our music speaks.
Yeah.
And we got some for everybody.
Yeah.
John, do you want to give an amen to that?
Yeah, absolutely. And don't worry about being in that box that the industry says you have to be in, because as you can hear, we're all over the place, and that's just how it used to be. And I think it's actually speaks to the gift of song. It's like it's going to be universal. So if you allow that your portals, leave them open. You'll be surprised what'll come through you. So don't worry about being that industry box. Do what you love. Do what you love.
Yeah.
Love medicine. Let it
Love.
heal.
I'll spread love.
Wonderful. Well, I want to play after the game, and then we'll come back and we'll wrap up. But I want to play the last song of the evening for everybody, okay? Then we'll come back and say a few words about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, I'm just wondering, my next week's guest is Alex Harris. Do you know Alex?
I think it feels like I should.
He does Southern Soul, Americana. I thought you might know him. I should introduce you. This guy is spectacular.
Let's do it.
He sounds like Al Green. I mean,
Wow.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
I'll introduce you guys. Okay, let's hear the last song of the evening after the game. Wow, that was terrific. There's a couple of more comments, and then I'm going to have to just wrap up. Lou Kerpus, great evening. Thank you, John, Eddie, and Mel.
Thanks, Lou. Thank you.
Paula Fanwale, you guys make such beautiful music. You have a new fan.
Oh,
Yes,
yay.
Love it.
Don Patterson, beautiful. Where can I get your music? Well, that was the next question we're gonna get to. So basically, tell everybody where they can find your music, where they can find out what you're up to, how they can become a fan.
You can follow us on Instagram, @2basics.duo. On Instagram, streaming our music is on all platforms, and you can find us in @2basics. And it has on any streaming platform, Spotify, Apple Music, you name it, Tidal, all of them. They're on all of the singles are on all of those platforms. And soon our site is being put together now. We have available product on our site as well. So that'll probably be happening in the next couple of months. So we'll keep you posted on that through our social media. But Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok. We're on all of those platforms. Yeah.
Terrific.
Thank you all, and thank you, Mel. Thank you for
I want to thank both of you. And when you have some new music, when your book is ready, I want to have you come back and talk with us again. And I want everyone to be sure to tune in next week. I mentioned already, we're going to have another wonderful guest. We're going to have Alex Harris. Who,
Bad boy, I just listened to him while we
yeah.
were break. I just
Oh, you
listened
did?
to him. Yes. We need to know him.
Yeah.
You gotta listen to him, Jay, when you get off.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, he's bad boy.
There's a California group. I just drew a blank. Wait a second. Oh
Like
my
him?
goodness. No, there's a California group that they do his music. They're the band that is behind a lot of his music.
Oh wow!
It'll come to me afterwards. But
I just listened to
they're a funk psychedelic band, and they're fascinating. They're Kelly guys. Yeah, it'll come to me. Yeah,
yeah.
The Monophonics.
Oh, okay.
John, you know about
Yeah, and Kelly. I forgot. Kelly is a vocalist. I can't remember his last name right off the top of my head. But the Monophonics, they do a lot of Alex's music.
He's smoking, man. I'm a fan. I'm going to, after we finish, to listen to the rest of it. He's bad.
Well, if you guys want to hang around when we end the show, we can chat for a few minutes.
Will do. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for taking your time. Everybody loved it tonight. So we'll have you back again.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Mel.
Okay, good night. Next week, where I mentioned we're having Alex Harris. Alex is a marvelous vocalist. He's got Southern soul, and he calls it Americana. But you'll love what he does. If you like Al Green, be sure to tune in. This guy's got the vocals, boy. So tune in next week. And again, I'm Mel Albin. I'm your host, and we'll be seeing you again next week, 7 o'clock Thursday night on the Power Hour. Everybody have a great evening. I'm Mel Albin. I'm the host and the founder of the Jazz Confusion Power
My name
Hour.
is Dion Parson, and I'm honored to share my passion of music with you, our listening audience, through my cultural heritage.
Things can change for you too. If you want to be brand new, that is absolutely possible.